Hey, everybody, this is Fingers Malloy. She's Tracy L. Connors. This is the Enough Already podcast. Are we doing a year in review here, Tracy? Is that what we're doing?
That's kind of what I planned for, yeah.
So you don't want to hear about my liquidation channel story?
No.
No?
No, I can imagine that it's just insanely low prices, people pretending that it's a great deal.
Did you know, Tracy, that we were not allowed to import rubies from Burma? Did you know that?
I was not aware of
Burmese rubies?
The Burmese ruby ban.
Yes.
No.
They were banned, Tracy, until recently. So if you wanted to get Burmese rubies, you would be breaking the law, and it would have cost you thousands of dollars. But if you went to the liquidation channel, you could have gotten earrings yesterday. $69.99.
Oh, my God. Something tells me those aren't real rubies.
Oh, no. In fact, the way he described them, my Indian friend, pigeon blood red.
Ugh.
Yes, I'd never heard that before as a description for a fine jewel. But apparently that's how you know it's a fine ruby, if it looks like pigeon blood.
Pigeon blood red. What's his name, Steve? Or do we just decide that?
Yeah, we're going to go with Steve. It's Joshua on the liquidation channel.
Okay.
You're missing out.
I don't really think so.
Screw all that high production value television that you watch. The liquidation channel is the most entertaining thing on TV. It is.
Just because it's the only thing you watch on television does not make it the most entertaining.
I fell asleep watching it last night. 2 hours.
Wow.
They had a ring. I mean, I don't know anything about jewelry. Don't care about it. But they make everything out to be the most spectacular thing in the history of history. They had a ring last night. It was a 32 karat ring.
Okay.
Black spinal? Have you ever heard of black spinal?
No.
I mean, it's just it's fantastic. You gotta watch it.
Okay.
You gotta watch it.
The next thing you're going to tell me is that there's an unclaimed baggage sale channel.
Oh, my God.
Did you know about this, that all unclaimed baggage ends up in Alabama?
No, I did not know that.
And they sell it off? Yeah.
Do they do it like on Storage Wars, where they just have a group of bags that people can't look through and they put them up for bid, or...
No, I believe what happens is it's put on store shelves and stuff like that.
Why?
So I'm looking at their website, unlimitedbaggage.com, unclaimedbaggage.com, excuse me. So all the lost bags arrive by tractor trailer to our processing facility. Then the clothes are dry cleaned. The jewelry is cleaned and the electronic equipment is tested and cleared of personal data. Then they sell that shit.
Why
it's
Alabama?
Some giant warehouse. I have no idea.
And, gosh, you must be some sort of rich to just decide that you're not going to claim a bag. You're like, I could go through the effort of going to the airport and filling out a report, but the hell with it. Somebody can have my pigeon red ruby earrings. Pigeon blood red, excuse me. Wow. So I can go down to Alabama anytime I want.
Yeah, we should hit them up and say, have you guys thought about starting a channel?
Really?
Steve is available. Or Fingers Playing Steve is definitely available.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that would go over well. Yeah, so they say 0.5% of bags remain unclaimed from airports. I don't know how that happens.
You ever had a bag get lost on you?
Permanently? Or
Yes.
just, no, not permanently.
What about temporarily?
Yes.
They give you the whole spiel. You were like flying to Oklahoma City and your bag somehow ended up in Maui. That ever happened to you?
I don't think it's gone that far. The last time it happened to me, I think I was in college. And it was just a couple hours late, so they drove it out to me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Well, it's their fault.
Yeah, the last time I went to Vegas for what was the Freedom Fest, I got there. I thought I got there on time, but then I got to the gate or the check-in, excuse me, and there was a line that was like 6 blocks long. So by the time I checked my bag, it was 40 minutes before my flight, and they're like, we don't know if we can get this bag on the plane, so you may have to come back to the airport to pick it up. I'm like,
yeah, 40 minutes is definitely not enough to move a bag across an airport on a bunch of conveyor belts. Yeah.
But they ended up getting on the plane, so I didn't have to worry about it. My bag didn't end up in Alabama. Somebody wasn't buying a Snark Factor t-shirt down in Birmingham. But, well, anyway, I mean, what do you want to talk about here? I mean, so much has happened this year. From you running into Martha Raddatz.
Oh yeah.
We could talk
See, these
about
are things that even I forget. I mean, compiling a list since last week.
I mean, you could go to, I believe it's still pinned on your profile on Twitter, isn't it?
Correct.
So if you missed Tracy, and tell everyone what happened, let's recap.
Well, I was
down.
I was in beautiful Westchester, Pennsylvania, attending a seminar, and we had taken a break in the morning, and I was availing myself of the coffee that was there next to the windowsill, and I looked out and I said, that's weird. There's some old blonde lady with 2 camera people. Who's that? Oh, I think that's Martha Raddatz. And I then decided I was going to head downstairs and make sure. So I went down out the front door, and she was across the street on the opposite sidewalk. And yes, of course, it was her.
And this was after the debate.
Yes. This was October the 14th, I believe. So I think that debate had been October 9th, I want to say. And she was wandering around this town, which it's a county seat. So there's a court and stuff there. But otherwise, there's a school, a fairly large university, I guess. Mm-hmm. But other than that, there's really not that much going on. And it's not that close to Philadelphia. It's probably a 35-minute car ride. So it made absolutely no sense that she would be there. And what she was doing was wandering around and getting people on camera and asking them about the election. So she came over to me. And this is when I hit record on my phone and held it in front of me. I don't know how she doesn't notice. And I asked her if she was pleased with her debate performance and if she had gotten any flack from her obvious hacking. And she seemed to believe that she had been completely fair to both candidates. And surprisingly, no one had given her any shit, according to her.
Right. Well, I'm sure no one in the cocktail party circuit gave her shit.
No. I wish I would have asked her in retrospect, are you going to cry on election night when he wins? Maybe that would have put the thought in her head. Don't embarrass yourself on television, Martha. Don't embarrass yourself on television.
Stay strong. Stay strong. You're a strong, confident woman.
Yeah.
You're a strong, confident woman.
Now, how that woman had that face on television is absolutely beyond me.
She should be someone selling black onyx jewelry on the liquidation channel.
Or lost luggage.
Yes.
But I wouldn't buy anything from her.
But the thing that I took from that video was how you handled yourself, and you were very nice to her. Mm-hmm. I mean, you see a lot of these... I don't know how in these confrontational videos where people, swarm and pounce, and you're very kind, very nice, very polite, and she's very delusional. Yes.
Well, I just consider her to be mentally ill, so you have to approach those people with care.
So if you missed that video, you can go to Tracy's Twitter account at Tracy L. Connors, and it's pinned to the top of her profile there. It's a pinned tweet. When did that start happening? When were we able to start pinning tweets?
I want to say 2 years ago, perhaps.
Oh, wow. What an age we live in.
I know, pinning tweets. Who would have ever imagined we would have that kind of power?
My God. But looking back over the past year, we did something here on the Enough Already podcast where we took one of, it was Hillary Clinton's cough fest.
Yes.
One of her speeches in, I believe it was Cleveland, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely in Ohio. But I think it was the Cleveland Cough Fest.
And we had a smartphone read the transcript of that podcast, or of that speech, excuse me. And we put that out as a separate little segment away from the podcast. I don't think we actually put it in the podcast. But it was just 5 minutes of the smartphone saying cough, hack, wheeze. Cough.
You guys with your conspiracy theories about her being unwell.
Well, the Russians hacked her esophagus and caused her to have that coughing fit. No, but that was one of the reasons why she lost. As much as our Democrat friends don't want to come to grips with this and admit it, she disappeared for an entire month as they were pumping her with steroids and gin giblets.
Gimlets.
Giblets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the turkey.
Yeah.
No, they actually they infused giblets. It's early. Just woke up. Gin gimlets.
Yes.
But she disappeared for an entire month, Tracy.
And then she returned triumphantly on September 11th. And that's the day we learned that Chelsea has a full-on hospital suite in her beautiful apartment in downtown Manhattan.
Probably paid for by the Clinton Foundation. I mean, after all, they do weddings, and they paid for her wedding. Why not pay for an ER in a Manhattan apartment?
Oh, man. That was such a fun day.
But it's the Russians.
Yeah, of course it is.
I mean, you just see what's going on right now, and we've had, the president expel, what was it, 35 Russian diplomats?
I believe that's the number, yes.
And you have high-level Democrats running around saying that the Russians hacked our elections, and they're trying to give the American people the impression, without really getting into it, that somehow Vladimir Putin hacked into the voting machines and handed the victory to Donald Trump.
That's exactly what they want everybody to think happened without saying it. Otherwise, there's absolutely no reason to string those words together like that. Yes, I could potentially believe that they hacked into the DNC and they hacked into Podesta's email, but they did not hack the election.
Right.
But they're going to persist. Apparently, they put out some document that they purport is evidence yesterday of the hacking and how it went down. And this is of the emails, mind you. And I have some friends that are way more familiar with how that all works than I am.
Are they calling bullshit?
Yeah, total bullshit. Well, they said there's nothing here. They have this nice infographic that shows you they've got the hackers. And you'll love this. They're wearing hoodies sitting at laptops. And then there's an arrow that shows you basically into the server. And then another little panel where they show, they took the information and came back. It's really pathetic and quite elementary looking. And there was a disclaimer on it. And I have to find this because it was so damn funny. The disclaimer, this was put out by, I think, DHS. That's one of the 17 agencies that agrees. And the disclaimer at the top of the report basically says like nothing in this is legit. Here it is. This report is provided as is for informational purposes only. The Department of Homeland Security does not provide any warranties of any kind regarding any information contained within. DHS does not endorse any commercial product or service referenced in this advisory or otherwise. So it's a little strange, right?
It sounds like the disclaimer that they give you before you buy jewelry from the liquidation channel.
Yes. Cannot be responsible for any limbs that may become gangrenous. This Burmese ruby may or may not contain super AIDS. It's pretty pathetic. But they're going to the mat on this one. And Putin's just laughing hysterically. I mean, they've talked about putting sanctions on him. He's rumored to be the richest person in the world. What do you think you can do to hurt him personally? Take away that mini horse that he rides?
Oh, my gosh. And he knows it's all going to be peeled back in about 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, look, he's a bad dude. We all know he's a bad dude. But, again, they just can't come to grips with the fact that they were rejected.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, we can relive this. Well, why not? It is the year in review. She didn't go to Wisconsin after the primary was over.
Mm-hmm.
It's come out that since the election, the knives are starting to be sharpened and put firmly in people's backs. So now you're starting to get the dirt. She didn't visit. I think she visited one United Auto Workers local in Michigan.
Oh, wow.
After the primary that she lost in Michigan. This is what happens when you disappear for a month and you get outworked. You lose.
Yeah. No, and even when she came back, she wasn't campaigning as frequently as Trump was.
No, she had her surrogates out there.
Yeah, because they're more likable than she is.
That's true. I mean, even what was it? The last week of the election, when you have to hastily put together a campaign event in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And people aren't really coming to see you. They're coming to see, who was it? Was it Jay-Z and Beyonce?
No, I don't think that they were in Philadelphia. They were in Ohio. I want to say that was in Cleveland.
Oh, I thought they did a whole concert in Philadelphia.
No, the concert in Philadelphia was Bon Jovi and Springsteen.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Don't you remember us making fun of it? I said, I don't know who the hell whose votes they're trying to win here.
Yeah, you're right.
Coming to Philly with those two white guys?
Yeah, it was mistake after mistake. Remember that one point in Ohio during the summer where they brought half the cast of The West Wing?
Yes.
And had them knocking on doors in like Canton, Ohio.
I think they knocked on one door for a photo op.
I mean, just completely out of touch with the people that they needed the most, and even when they were showing up, which they didn't most of the time.
Mm-mm.
But it's the Russians. It's the Russians.
It has to be.
I mean, you said for a year that he could win Philadelphia. Or, excuse me, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, absolutely. But he had an actual message. Hers was, he's a mean guy and the people that like him suck. It's not going anywhere. I mean, you remember we started making fun of her from the jump when she came out with, I'm your champion.
Yes.
And then they had to revamp that and keep changing their slogan. They couldn't decide on anything. They had that list that came out in one of the WikiLeaks emails of, I think it was something upwards of 80 different potential slogans for her.
And at the end of the day, it had to be I'm with her.
Well, that was that. No, her main one that was on the podium was Stronger Together.
Oh, Stronger Together. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. The divisive bitch.
Yes, she's a uniter.
Thinks we could be stronger together.
What do you think she's doing today?
I would imagine that she's into the gym giblets.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Well, and I don't know if you saw this. I found this hilarious. Yesterday, I believe the news came out that Bill Clinton has pledged to donate up to $200,000 to the Clinton Foundation.
Oh, good for him.
Can you believe it? He's personally, this is tripling every gift to the foundation up to $200,000.
Wow. Well, that's probably a big deal for him, actually, because, before the election, that's a 5-minute speech at Goldman Sachs. But now that there really is no hope of them having any kind of political power anymore,
right?
You have to speak for a half hour, 45 minutes to get that kind of money.
I know. This is huge. But I love how you come out and make an announcement about that.
Yeah.
I'm giving $200,000 to my family charity, wink, wink. So it's paying off the rest of the campaign staff. That's what it'll be used for. And a year-end tax deduction, of course.
Of course. Well, Chelsea needs a salary.
Well, she never got a salary. Remember? That was their whole sleight of hand thing.
Right.
She just traveled on their dime.
Is she still making money off of NBC for doing absolutely nothing other than being Chelsea Clinton?
No, I think that got taken away from her pretty quickly. I don't imagine that people are going to be lining up to give them money anymore. So I have no idea what their next grift is going to be.
And it's not like she electrifies the room either.
No.
It's not like people are setting their alarms to get up early in the morning hoping Chelsea Clinton will show up on the Today Show.
No.
I don't get it. I to this day, I don't. I understood Bill Clinton to a certain extent because, there was something about Bill, even though he's a rapist, where you could see where, okay, he may be likable when he's not raping women, where you could have a beer with him and ask him why he rapes women. But but I see it, at least he could be possibly charming. But Hillary, my God, there's nothing about that woman that says to you, I would really like to hang out with her for a day. Just me and Hill Dog. Go have some beers.
Oh, man. What was her stupid ad that she did? Where she tried to be out the chill. Was it chillaxing that she
I'm
did?
just chilling in Cedar Rapids. She did a Vine.
Yeah. That's why Vine went under. Little known fact.
Just chilling in Cedar Rapids. It's like, yes.
Me and my bottle of hot sauce.
That's exactly how she talks and acts right there. She's just a cool grandma, Tracy.
Oh, I remember. I saw her dancing on Ellen.
Did she do that? What do they call it? Dabbing?
Yes. No, I think
Dipping?
she was Dougieing, perhaps. Oh, she was whipping and nay-naying.
Oh, that's it.
That's what it was. And I believe Amy Schumer was there to help further the humiliation.
God, does Ellen still dance on that show?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good God. People love that, apparently.
I guess so.
How is that entertaining, seeing a middle-aged lesbian in a pantsuit who can't dance in her Chuck Taylors going up and down the aisle dancing?
Ask the man who's been watching the Liquidation channel.
That's entertainment.
Oh, okay. I got nothing.
I don't know. I don't get it. Well, there really isn't much on daytime TV.
No.
There? I mean,
I don't
Ellen,
believe so.
You got Dr. Phil.
You got the cows on the View.
I have, I'm on vacation this week, so I have seen a little bit of daytime TV. Apparently, there's a show called The Doctors, where it's a bunch of, doctors hanging out, telling you that you should be drinking almond milk and doing sit-ups in the morning. I don't know, but you still got the Price is Right.
Yes.
And Drew Carey is like morphing into Bob Barker.
That's kind of cool.
But there's nothing on. So I guess when you're Ellen DeGeneres and you're dancing and your competition is some doctors telling people that they should drink almond milk, if you're starved for entertainment, I guess that's incredibly entertaining. I don't get it. When you could be watching the Liquidation Channel. What do I know? You're a woman, Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
What do women watch during the day?
I don't know. I don't watch television during the day.
But you got girlfriends.
Yeah, they don't watch television during the day either. They work.
But they set their DVRs. I mean, when your girlfriends get together, you guys go to, and I've seen this on television. I think I caught one episode of Sex in the City on E.
Yes.
Your girlfriends, you all get together at night at some trendy bar, and you're sitting there sipping on Cosmopolitans or Jim Giblets. Don't you talk about daytime TV?
Never.
Wow. I don't understand women.
Now you should just give up on that whole pursuit.
Yeah. Oh, boy. So what else did you want to talk about? We've got 25 minutes until we bring on Ashe Schow from watchdog.org. What other stories this year? We had tons of great guests this year.
That's true.
On the show, and some of them have moved on to work for the Trump administration, some being one.
Yes, correct. As of now.
Yes. But you never know.
As far as we know. There's another one working on an ambassadorship that could be pretty sweet. We'll leave that for a later date to discuss further.
But we've had on, who have we had on this year? Well, obviously, we're talking about Monica Crowley. Is now, what is
taking over Ben Rhodes' spot.
Yes.
Which makes me incredibly happy.
Who else have we had on? Well, we had on Pat Caddell.
Michael Walsh, Carol Roth.
Yes.
Carrie Pickett. Gavin McInnes.
Who, by the way, is still hosting a great show over on Compound Media there, the Kumia channel.
Absolutely. That's what the women that I know watch during the day.
That's what you ladies talk about when you go to your trendy bar and you sip on...
Yes, by trendy bar, you mean private Facebook groups. That's where we congregate these days.
Okay.
Oh, you can have friends all over the country that way.
That's true. I do have all of my close friends are based on relationships I've developed through the internet. Now, I don't have any friends practically, and I only have like maybe 3 or 4 in Indianapolis now. It's all, I only get to see people when I travel around the country for conferences that are my friends. Other than that, I don't have too many people that I can go to the bar with and sip on Cosmopolitans and talk about daytime TV.
Sorry.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
I'll add you to my private Facebook groups.
Oh, thank you. But then I will just make MASH references and stuff because that's the only thing.
Yes, that you watch.
Yeah. I've tried watching new shows. Like that Designated Survivor show that's like half 24 and half, what's the other show? West Wing. I made it through 3 episodes before I realized it was crap. So I've tried.
Good for you.
I've watched The League, thanks to you. Still haven't seen season 7, though.
Right. You got to savor that one.
Yeah.
It's the last one.
But what other stories do you want to talk about, Tracy?
I wanted to do a little... I know, you keep setting me up and then talking. Which is fine. I mean, you have to learn about mansplaining this year.
That's true.
That's one of your New Year's resolutions,
well, that's
remember.
what MTV tells me, yeah.
Yes. Well, they did yank that, which I thought was hilarious. It's the first time I've seen that happen.
Why would they yank that video? What a bunch of pussies.
Oh, I don't know. To save their brand, whatever that is these days.
They have Catfish, and that's it. They were so desperate at one point, they brought back Beavis and Butthead for, a cup of coffee a few years ago.
Yeah. No, Catfish is worth it. That's a show that you could get into. I guarantee it. Fits right in there with your liquidation channel.
But anyway, okay, what other stories did you want to talk about?
Well, I wanted to talk about our little year for a minute when we went to CPAC when we were still doing the Snark Factor.
Yes.
And what a hilarious few days that was. Because that was right after Super Tuesday. And reality was still unacceptable to most of the people that we ran into.
It was a wake.
Yes.
It really was. Except, at least there are, when you get together for a wake, some people are reminiscing and laughing and thinking of the good times. And there were no good times.
No, everybody was still in their little corners on their teams, all huddled together. Marco can still pull it out. Keep the faith. He's going to do this.
Pull it out,
He's going to win Florida.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was priceless.
Oh, man.
Came in fourth. Or was it fifth?
I think it was fourth.
Fourth.
Yeah.
In fourth in Florida, and you're going to tell me how he's going to mop the floor with Hillary in November. Okay. Sure.
He could have. He still would have. Still would have beat her.
Oh.
But no, and then getting to watch that debate live in the ballroom.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that I didn't get thrown out of the ballroom.
Yes. That was the biggest shock of the whole weekend. We absolutely should have been escorted out of that room.
But we met some good friends that
did.
That night. So
we did. And we were partying with the future counselor to the president, or whatever the hell they're calling Mr. Head of the alt-right, Steve Bannon, the white nationalist, anti-Semite, racist.
Oh, was that this year?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. We went up to the
old suite.
Yeah, the Breitbart penthouse there at CPAC. Which, by the way, what I found hilarious about that, for those that aren't familiar with CPAC, it's a 4-day conference, and it's pretty much an excuse for a bunch of center-right people to get together and drink for 4 days. And so there are parties all over National Harbor, Maryland, and sometimes in D.C., and we have friends that throw these parties, and some rent big suites in hotels and just pack it with booze.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found funny about that Breitbart party is there were a bunch of people up there, and I won't mention their names, I'll protect their identities, that would never be caught dead publicly having anything to do with Breitbart. But boy, oh boy, they sure had no problem going up and drinking their booze in the Breitbart suite and talking to the Breitbart people.
No.
I was looking around going, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
And there are a bunch of lefties there, too, that you probably wouldn't recognize. But
no, I wouldn't, unless they were on the Liquidation Channel.
Yeah, no. Some, what's her name, Olivia Newsy?
Was that the Daily Beast chick?
Yes, that broke the big expose about Pepe the Frog.
She was probably doing research on Pepe up at the Breitbart suite.
Oh, I'm sure she was.
While drinking free booze.
But they've always had lefties at their parties, which I found so amusing because those people act as if Breitbart is the worst thing that ever happened to America. And yet there they are, down in their booze, yucking it up. But they're the first to say, oh, my God, they let all these white supremacists in there.
Yeah, they're so terrible. How could you drink with someone who when they go home, they put on their KKK robe? Why? How could you do that? How could you live with yourself?
It's for the story. Oh, man.
God. Well, I mean, in this year, and by this year, I mean next year, 2017, I'm excited about CPAC just because they're opening the MGM Grand National Harbor Casino like 3 blocks away.
Yes.
So really, that's the only reason to go to CPAC.
Mm-hmm.
So
And since
that'll
I
be
don't
fun.
gamble, it holds no interest to me
I
whatsoever.
bet they'll have a bar that rivals the bar at the Cosmopolitan.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, don't shortchange the fine folks in Maryland. I'm sure that they'll have some sort of chandelier and be beautiful. Beautiful, I tells you.
Nah. No, I don't have much interest in going this year. I think it's going to be so much sadness. Oh. I mean, last year was bad. We had so many I had so many altercations while we were there. It was quite disturbing,
Oh.
I guess. So I'm sure that we're somewhat responsible for all this madness.
Well, I'll be there anyway, so
Yeah, you can take one for the
I'll
team.
take one for the team.
I'll send you a hat.
Thanks. Be
I've got
great.
the new one, the USA hat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's CPAC. What else did you
Well,
want to
and
bring up over what happened over the past year? Freedom Fest?
yeah, that was a good time as well. Much more fun. Not as many. Well, I guess there were some arguments that I got into there as well. Trying to convince the likes of Jeffrey Tucker from Fee. I don't think I talked to Matt Welsh about his ridiculous Trump is Hitler stuff, but I did talk to Jeffrey. Yaron Brook from the Ayn Rand Institute. I was trying to convince them that Trump is worth it just to watch the Democrats completely freak out. They seem to kind of come around to that idea, and I'm sure that they're secretly enjoying this.
I remember my good friend Jason Pye dragging me over, trying to get me to talk with Nick Gillespie,
Oh, Conrad Birdie, yeah.
and me not wanting to have anything to do with that because at that point it was after midnight in Vegas.
Yeah, on day 4.
Oh, good God. Oh, I hit a royal flush there, too, which was nice.
Oh, yeah.
On a nickel machine, though.
You and your nickel slots.
Yeah, my nickel slots.
But I did want to talk about some of the bigger news stories. When anytime one of these would hit, we would just say to each other on our little chats that Trump is president now, which we stole from Anthony Cumia, and I love it. But the Orlando shooting,
Yes.
which happened in June, that's when I was like, okay, he's definitely president now. Because it was after he had clinched the primary. And right away comes out and calls it for what it is.
And nobody else wanted to. Mm-hmm. And still to this day, people aren't calling. Nobody talks about that anymore.
No.
How many people died? It was like 43 or something?
50, I think.
50.
49 or 50, yeah.
It was a terrorist attack, but we can't call it a terrorist attack, and that's the kind of crap that led to a Trump victory.
Yeah, you hear it. I've heard it recently being discussed in year-end things, but it's always a gun control issue.
Of course.
Because remember, shortly after that, the Democrats held their sit-in. I think it was in the wake of that.
Yes.
Where they threw a hissy fit and ordered Chick-fil-A to the House floor.
Yeah.
And wouldn't leave because they wanted people on the no-fly list not to be able to buy guns.
Right.
And close the gun show loophole, please, which neither one of those things had anything to do, of course, with what happened in Orlando. And you remember that gentleman's father showed up at a Hillary event later.
Oh, that's right.
Right behind her.
Right behind
and then
her.
Interviewed. Love Hillary. She's the best. It's unbelievable.
And then he had some shady ties too, didn't he? From what I remember.
I believe so. Which doesn't shock anybody. Yeah, wasn't he trying to be the president in absentia of Pakistan or
Yeah, it was something
Afghanistan?
really strange.
Just running
and then,
some rogue
then all of a
campaign.
sudden, he wasn't invited to any more Hillary events to stand behind her.
Yeah.
But, we're stronger together, Tracy.
Sure.
So you bring these people in to unite us, because that's a unifying figure, the father of the man that went in and shot up a gay club.
Yes.
Wonder why
Yes.
she lost.
Not a
Can't
clue.
understand. The
I
Russians.
think the Russians put him up to it. He was a sleeper agent.
That's right.
But then shortly thereafter, that's the Dallas police shooting,
Oh,
which
that
was
was a night.
awful. Yes. Yeah, that was unbelievable. But,
And that was just part of a string of police shootings that happened in about a week or two. I can't remember. Isn't it awful? There's so much that happened this year that it just felt like after a while you just were walking around kind of numb to it all. Like, oh, another
Yeah.
police shooting. Oh, there was one happened in Michigan. Oh, yeah, that one happened in Dallas. Oh, yeah, another one happened. But at least we have the calming influence, the leadership that was coming out of Washington, D.C. and the White House to be able to help heal the nation and unify us the way that President Obama did. So,
yeah.
and people still can't understand how Donald Trump won.
Nope. Not a clue. Had to be nefarious interference by another world power. Couldn't have possibly been that people watched all the stuff go down on television. And then, of course, there were riots again,
Yep.
which you and I thoroughly enjoy. Every time there's a sale at CVS, these things seem to happen. And that went on for days. And if you'll remember, that was in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes.
And then was it such a shock that Trump ends up winning North Carolina?
And yet the governor lost
Yes.
in North Carolina because
Well,
of the whole bathroom thing.
That's what everybody says. And I still hear people misreport on what happened with the bathroom stuff.
Yeah.
It started with the left. Let's be clear about that. The Charlotte City Council, which was lefties, they wanted to pick a fight because after the Supreme Court ruled that gay marriage is the law of the land, I guess is what the left would say now, they needed another fight for the LGBTQXYZ to keep them engaged and in the Democrat fold. So they decided to go pick a fight about bathrooms, which nobody gave a shit about.
And
so,
really, I think only 4 people. It really only affects 4 people from what I'm able to
I think it's 0.1% of the population or something.
4 people.
Correct. That your math is spot on. So that starts there, and then the state has to do something about it, obviously. I don't know why they got baited into that. That was pretty stupid. But
And then Target decided to make their decision to just let anyone go to the bathroom wherever they wanted. You can even go to the bathroom in a dressing room now, Tracy, at a Target. And they don't care.
awesome.
They don't care? And then their stock plummeted.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, this has been the year of the backlash for these companies that have been getting away with lefty sympathies and outright pushing agendas, from them to Kellogg's getting their asses handed to them for pulling their ads from that white supremacist awful outlet, Breitbart.com.
I expect to see the Kellogg CEO at the Breitbart party at CPAC this year, like nothing ever happened.
It's possible. I mean, that would be the one reason to attend CPAC, is just to go in there to that party and see who from the left is showing their face and who from the Never Trump right.
Yeah.
Because
there were
some of those
people up
guys
there
are
last
still
year.
diehards. Oh, sure. Absolutely. And now they're thoroughly embarrassed. I mean, I fully expect to walk in there and see Martha Raddatz and Van Jones this year.
Well, Van Jones is probably off doing his next Heal the Nation show on CNN. What was the name of that? Where you got
Oh, God.
Rick Santorum together with
Michael Moore and
Michael Moore.
Anna Navarro.
Yeah.
She's
Wow.
another one that's going to heal the rift. No, it's been stunningly pathetic on CNN as of late.
And then you got, we're toward the end of the year and everybody's dropping dead.
Yeah. Well, people started dropping dead in the beginning of the year, let's
That's
be
true.
honest.
But, and you thought it was all over, and then Carrie Fisher gets on a plane, which is the most dangerous thing you can do outside of swimming in the ocean. Mm-hmm. has a heart attack. And apparently, from all the reports that I've read, really was unresponsive on the plane. After, I think, 15 minutes before the plane landed, they had medical personnel on the plane there trying to revive her. And she didn't regain consciousness. And then Debbie Reynolds drops dead.
Mm-hmm.
And George Michael drops dead.
Yeah, that happened first.
Yeah.
I think I think Carrie Fisher flying on Christmas, and then she didn't pass until the day after.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So we found out George Michael died on Christmas.
On Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And all the lame memes started coming out that it was his last Christmas.
Oh God.
But
I wasn't on the internet that day.
when there were a lot of pictures floating around of his last public appearance.
Yeah.
He was having dinner somewhere, and it looked like he gained somewhere in the neighborhood of 612 pounds.
Oh. I did not see those photographs.
Yeah, it looks like someone injected Twinkie fat in his face. Mm-hmm. Which happens.
Sure. Absolutely.
When you get to be my age, Tracy, you just look for reasons for these people to have passed away that are different than natural causes. It wasn't natural causes. Well, you try to, think, okay, well, Carrie Fisher, she must have done, tons of cocaine back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So that's why her heart exploded.
Well, she admitted to having substance abuse problems.
Yeah. George Michael, the same thing.
Yeah.
You don't want to think that someone that's young, and it's amazing. I'm 45 now. I never thought that 60 was young. And I'm like, oh, yeah, 60's young. People just don't fall asleep and die, Tracy.
No, that never
Doesn't
happens.
happen. No, ever. There has to be a reason, and it has to involve something that I don't do. So it has to be cocaine.
Okay.
Cocaine use.
Fair enough.
Anyone who dies in their sleep at a young age, it was because they abused cocaine.
I buy it.
Or meth.
Oh.
Jim Giblets.
Mm-hmm.
Were you a big George Michael fan growing up?
I knew the hits. Sure.
I don't know.
No, I was a much bigger Star Wars fan than George Michael fan.
Princess Leia in the Golden Bikini. Unbelievable. I haven't seen. I think let's see. I did see Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was it.
You saw the original 3.
Yeah. I saw the original 3, but then after I saw Return of the Jedi when it came out, and then I haven't seen any Star Wars movie since, or I have not revisited Star Wars or.
Well, you're a Trekkie.
Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, I have seen all the Star Trek episodes.
Yes.
And movies. So.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
You were a big Star Wars fan growing up?
Oh, yeah. Loved it. I've seen all the movies.
Look at you.
I know. I haven't seen the new one. Rogue One.
Oh, Rogue One. Everyone's going crazy about that.
Yeah, well. I'll see it when I can watch it from my couch.
Well, you can right now if you want to.
Possibly. I'm sure there's somebody in there videotaping it for me.
I'm sure you know somewhere where you can watch that online.
I'm quite certain that I probably could find it. But Fingers, you skipped over the biggest and most heart-wrenching celebrity death of 2016.
Who am I forgetting?
One silverbacked gorilla.
Oh, it's true.
Who's now an emoji. It's true. Latest iOS update.
I gotta get some Harambe t-shirts for CPAC.
They have them. Saw them all over the Jersey Boardwalk this summer. That was another tip-off to me that Trump gonna win. My favorite is the shot glass that said, "He took a shot for you. Now take a shot for him."
Poor
Yes,
fella.
when you die prematurely, I'll blame Harambe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he was a coke abuser. A lot of people don't know that. Harambe loved his nose candy. Wow, yeah, I forgot about this. See, there's, again, so much has happened.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrity.
Yeah, this seems like one of the longest years ever.
Yeah. Well, what's going to happen in 2017?
Well, my predictions were things to watch for us is the wall going to get built?
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm fascinated to see. Are we going to get these damn tax cuts? Are we going to be able to kill Obamacare?
Mm-hmm.
And my two biggest questions that remain for Obama is he going to pardon Hillary? And is he going to commute Blago's sentence? Because, Rod Blagojevich has sent a letter asking to have his sentence commuted.
I did not know that.
Not be pardoned. And here's the fun thing that I had forgotten until I was reading about this. Rod Blagojevich was on The Celebrity Apprentice. And I believe he had to leave to go to jail. So if Obama won't commute his sentence, perhaps Trump will. So he's not asking for a flat out pardon. He's asking for his sentence to be reduced.
How much more time does he have to serve? Do you know?
Well, he's supposed to be there for 14 years.
Oh, good God.
But you'll love this. This was an article from the Chicagoist, which I had never heard of, that explains, his attempts to get his sentence commuted. But the last sentence is hilarious. Blagojevich is at a low-security federal prison in Colorado where he formed a band with fellow inmates called the Jailhouse Rockers. Most original prison band name ever.
The anal rapers wasn't available?
No. But you could see him being an Elvis impersonator, couldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I just remember that whole thing that went down with Steve Bartman. The Cubs
No.
were in the league championship series, and it looked like they were going to go on to the World Series, and there was a fly ball to left field, and the Cubs fan, Steve Bartman, reached over the rail and he interfered with the game, and then Florida came back and won, and then eventually won the league championship series, and this poor cat had to go into hiding, and they interviewed the fine governor at the time with the pompadour hair, and he said, well, I can tell you one thing, he would never get a pardon from this governor. And it's like, oh, you're such a douche.
Yeah. I remember that now. I didn't know that I was not aware of that gentleman's name.
Steve Bartman.
There you go.
Bartman.
Yeah, I was like, Bartman?
Bartman.
Is this a Simpsons reference that I didn't get?
But, you need the governor to step up and be an adult.
Yes.
He's there with a pitchfork and a torch, too, saying
String
burn the
him
witch. String the witch. String him up. Whatever. Douche. Well, good. I'm glad that he's in prison. In a band.
I wish there were several other people joining him in that band. What do you think Hillary could play? The tambourine?
Oh, that'd be great. She should be in the Mystery Machine,
Oh, the Scooby Van.
Yeah,
When that was cool.
Solving mysteries, playing
That's
songs.
when she tried to be a woman of the people going to Chipotle at one time.
Couldn't get out of there fast enough.
No. Ugh.
Oh, can you imagine what Chipotle would do to a 95-year-old woman?
No, I know what it does to me. I've had it once, and that was the end of that experiment.
Oh. Well, we should bring on Ashe Schow.
Alrighty.
Ashe Schow of watchdog.org is here. Uh-oh. You unavailable?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
You have to move out of the spy compound you've been living in with the rest of the Russians?
Yeah, you know me.
You knew it.
Well,
all that time you're on Twitch, you're actually just communicating back to the Kremlin.
Yeah. It's, those video games are just codes.
Sure.
There you go.
I saw the infographic that the feds put out yesterday. It looked remarkably like you, the hacker in the hoodie.
Well, we're doing our year in review, Ash, and so I guess I should go ahead and ask you. There are, a few stories that you've written about over the past year that stick out that you'd like to talk about.
Well, I think one of my first articles for Watchdog actually was one of my best of the year because I hadn't really done an article that talked about a campus lawsuit and also went through, all of so much of the legal stuff behind it, what schools are required to do because of the federal government, things like that. So I think the Watchdog, one of my first articles, it was about a lawsuit. That's probably one of my best. I had a really good, a couple really good ones for the Observer as well. There's a lot of them. I was really big into polling for a couple of weeks, even though I know that the polls mean nothing, and they absolutely meant nothing this year. But there was a couple of weeks during the summer or late summer where Hillary Clinton was doing really badly, or Trump was gaining in the polls, and then Hillary was starting to fall in the polls, and there was a time when Trump was above her, and it was just a couple of weeks of just bad news. So it was really fun for me because I got to just keep writing this article. It's more bad news for Hillary, more bad news for Hillary, another bad poll for Hillary. And it was just, 2 weeks of that. And some of those articles did really, really well because it was just, those couple of weeks ended up being accurate, those ended up being the reality. But it was fun to write at the time because I didn't even, I didn't think that was the reality then because, there was a lot of people who did believe Trump could win, but us East Coast elites, really didn't believe it and just didn't see it coming. So it was just fun for those couple of weeks to, what I thought I was doing was just kind of pretending.
Well, and I asked you this probably a month ago, but Tracy's in Pennsylvania. I'm in Indiana. We don't make it out to Washington, D.C. very often. So, we're getting closer and closer to the inauguration. Are people coming to grips with the fact that they're going to have to start addressing Donald Trump as Mr. President?
I don't think so. Newsbusters had a great article yesterday that was showing the media back in 2008 after Obama won, they were calling for moving the inauguration up because, look, this was a change election and we have our change president, so let's just get him in already. Bush can't do anything as a lame duck, so just get him out. It's pointless to have him in. Let's get Obama in there, right? And so here we are, 8 years later, another change election, and yet they're not calling for the inauguration. They're calling for recounts and saying that it was hacked, which is very disingenuous because when they're trying to say that Russia hacked the election, they're not saying that Russia went into voting booths and changed the number of votes. They're talking about Russia hacking the DNC and exposing DNC communications, which they believe helped Trump. Now, I'm not sure that really helped Trump because, if you look at the things that people in the Midwest that ended up voting for Trump were talking about it and wanted and liked him for, I don't think they gave a crap about the DNC emails. Or, what John Podesta was writing, or even that Donna Brazile, gave out campaign questions before the debates. I'm not sure they really cared about all of that. I still think for them, and a big reason why Trump won really was a jobs thing, a looking like, people don't care about middle-class workers in the Midwest, that all they care about is more diversity at the expense of hardworking people, and, you know, green energy at the expense of coal and oil. And I think that resonated way more than whether Donna Brazile, who most of these people probably haven't even heard of, giving out a debate question ahead of time. That, I mean, yeah, that on the surface, are you kidding me? It was very clear that the Democrats were trying to help Hillary. But as far as that goes, that just shows that they didn't want Bernie, which is kind of another blow to Democrats themselves. I mean, it wasn't so much what was actually happening, like the specifics, but more the fact that they kept Bernie Sanders, that it was, you know, they were the threat to democracy, because maybe the people would have wanted Bernie Sanders, and it would have been Sanders versus Trump. And then, you know, the middle class or the working class that believes they were left behind could have seen either of those candidates as their champion.
Look at her stealing Hillary's original campaign slogan. Do you remember that, Ash, when she came out? That was one of her first things. I'm going to be your champion.
Oh, yeah. Well, you saw the DNC, the one of the hacked emails that was a whole bunch of different slogans for her, and they were all, like, so horribly lame. It reminds me of, if you remember, in 2008, before Obama and company stole the Department of Agriculture symbol and made it the O with the field of red and white, they had a whole bunch of different images as well. I think there was a bunch of, you know, different colored hands, or there was some rings like the Olympics. Like, there was a bunch of just really dumb, lame symbols and logos that just obviously weren't going to work. That kind of shows that O really ended up meaning something and being its own thing. That how well would Obama have done if they had stuck with, you know, the hands that are difficult to draw, kind of looks like United Way or whatever, one of those charities. Like, it just, you know, how would Hillary have been president then if he had had a different logo? Who knows?
Ooh.
Branding. It's all about branding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a campaign logo that you're going to come out with anytime soon, Ash? Are we going to see a fancy A or for Ash or what?
Yeah, no, it's going to be probably like a torch, and there's going to be a pile of ashes at the bottom for Ash, you know.
Oh, see.
Ooh.
There you go. And you didn't even need 80 people. You didn't need 80 consultants to come up with that right off the top of your head.
Right. That was one of my favorite stories, actually, from the year, was how Hillary used to, at all of her speeches, but she always still said equal pay, even though she didn't define what that actually meant, because, you know, she can't. Because if you actually, you know, whatever, if you actually talk about it, you find out it's not equal pay. They're just trying to get basically more pay for women for doing less work. But she used to always say, basically, I'm a woman running to be the first woman for president, right? And it was like nauseating. It was like, do you think people are stupid and can't tell you're a woman? What I mean, or do you really have some some identity problems, or some low self-esteem that you think people can't look at you and think you're a woman? You know, maybe those pantsuits were a problem. But it was just, she made it seem like people wouldn't remember this. So she had to say it every single time. And then apparently Emily's List did like a focus group with donors, and donors were like sick of hearing it. And they were like, you think we're stupid? And so she stopped saying it all the time. But it was like, they focus tested that, right? Like, that's how like mechanical she was in her campaign. And you know, like, I think Politico had that great article about, you know, the people on the ground in Michigan who were like saying, look, we need, you know, the grassroots are dying out here. Like, we need you to come here. We need help. And they just had this formula that they were going to stick to. They were going to steal the Obama model, and that's all they thought they needed to do. They didn't look at the conditions on the ground, or the fact that we didn't just have 8 years of George W. Bush and a war that liberals were against, because now Obama furthered the war, and now liberals are totally cool with war because of Obama. But you didn't have 8 years of a Republican that everybody could say, oh, we hate Republicans. You had 8 years of a Democrat. You couldn't just assume that everything was the same in 2016 that it was in 2008. And that's what they did, because Democrats just wholeheartedly believe that demographics were going to keep them in the White House forever. That's why they let Obama get away with so much executive action and Harry Reid with the nuclear option, because they thought that Republicans could never get the White House and use that kind of expanse of executive power.
Yeah, one of the things that I was going to bring up earlier with Tracy when we were talking about some of our favorite things that happened this year was, from the WikiLeaks dumps, you got to see what was going on inside the Hillary campaign, and so much of it reminded me of the things that I do with my friends and with Tracy, where it's on Facebook Messenger, where it's just like, do you see this? See what happened with this story today? And then Hillary would respond, print it. Or the one string of emails, I think it was something like 16 people, or there were 16 emails involved in how to respond to one Marco Rubio tweet. It's like, this is what goes on.
Oh, I love that one.
Behind the scenes.
Just and it was hours.
Yeah.
They would get back to each other because it was just like they were thinking. But then there was also some weird things released, I wanted to see if when there was the John Podesta, was it his recipe for a good risotto? I was like, I wonder if there's any other food things. So I just, knowing it was stupid, I put in a search for food because it was risotto, so he didn't say food in there, So I wasn't really going to find anything. I was going to have to do individual food things, but I typed in food just to see what came up. And there was some email that was captured in there that was I think it was from GW Law to GW Law. So I have no idea, somebody was just on a mailing list or something. But it was someone saying, hey, there's 20 cans of cat food available for anybody up in this place, it's some random haul. And I was just great, fine, WikiLeaks. And people attacked me because they, I don't know, assumed I was MSM, thinking I was trying to claim that was the most scandalous thing found in WikiLeaks. They didn't get that I was just joking, that this was a really stupid email that got caught up. That was cat food, people, cat food.
No, I mean, the most mundane things. My favorites were, I think they came from the State Department released emails of Hillary Clinton herself, which was her asking for tea.
Tell this person to get me tea. She couldn't just tell the person or ask the person. She had to, send someone else to ask someone else, or talking about whether she had to pay her personal shopper. Or the fax machine one with Huma, where Huma's hang up the phone. I did. Hang it up again. Try again. Just going back and forth with Huma, which you kind of got this look, Huma is the, you always think of men as being sad sacks, but I kind of think of Huma as the sad sack of 2016, because she had to deal with the Anthony Weiner crap just constantly. And then the Anthony Weiner brought the whole, if they really believed the Comey letter destroyed them, then Anthony Weiner brought the whole thing down, right? Mm-hmm. It was that man who brought it down. The man who gave us the phrase, the toaster is still very loyal, that man. But Huma seemed to be the greatest sad sack because of the things she had to deal with Hillary, this fax conversation, or what was there, the email that came out where she didn't know that some of the stuff was classified, or that there was some CIA name or something, and then when she was given the name in the in her interview with the FBI or whatever, she was that should not have been sent. That should not have been sent. And I just think she had the worst job in all of 2016. This poor woman.
I know. I
seriously had to run the campaign. Seriously had to run the campaign for an old woman who didn't know technology. It was seriously you trying to help your parents with some new technology that they can't figure out. That was seriously Huma the entire campaign.
Poor thing. What do you think will become of her?
Well, I don't know, because it's what has become of Hillary. Does Huma finally jump ship and move on to better things now that Hillary's done, resigned to walking in the woods and meeting Democratic staffers in the woods and having dinner, eating all by herself in fancy places, apparently? Like, that seems to be Hillary's life now. Until, the next Democratic election, and then people will be like, it'll be the Mitt Romney thing all over again, where she'll start saying stuff, and people will be like, does anybody care what this woman thinks anymore?
I think that she'll be sipping Cosmopolitans with Cindy Sheehan and Sandra Fluck. It's part of the one more.
And Sharon Watts.
Yeah.
They'll get some, like, has-been girl group together. Wendy Davis will be there.
So they're going to play in Branson? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, we only have a
bridge on the weekends.
We only have a couple minutes left. Ash, you have any predictions for 2017?
I think that despite Trump, because he didn't really talk a whole lot about campus stuff, and especially Title IX issues, I think they're going to continue to get worse in 2017 as schools, frightened of Trump, crack down on anyone who even slightly appears to be non-liberal. And I think that even if Trump were to send out a guidance and correct all the things of Title IX, that it's not going to get better right away, because the attitude is so ingrained in these schools to treat young accused men as guilty before proven innocent, that it's just not going to change. It's going to take more lawsuits. It's going to take more investigations from the other side, against like schools for mistreating accused students before anything could possibly get better. I think it's still going to get worse. The
Are you going to seek
be
an
better.
audience with Betsy DeVos?
Maybe.
I think you should.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
I mean, some people close to the top of this whole new regime.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds.
Regime.
Yeah. No, just the fact that we know people that are going to be in the White House next year is kind of wild.
I know. I didn't mean that you were actually saying the word regime. It sounds crazy.
No.
But it's fun to say.
I would love to have Ash meet with Betsy DeVos. I mean, Betsy seems to have been focused on elementary and, undergrad school.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to somebody about, why the Secretary of Education always seems to be a K through 12 person, even though like the bulk of the money from Department of Ed goes to higher education.
Yes. Well, I just think that people intuitively believe that the Department of Education only handles K through 12.
Right.
So that's why you would put somebody at the top. Right. It's a complete misconception. They don't spend that much money at all on K through 12. They just dictate things to the schools. So I guess the transgender
is a problem in itself.
School bathrooms are out now.
Yeah.
K through 12, I would imagine.
Well, I don't know. Trump didn't care about that. He was like, let them use whatever bathroom they want.
Right. But the whole idea that they have to make special accommodations at all these schools.
Yeah, that might change.
Yeah. I don't know. I see Obama's legacy gone in the first 100 days. It's going to be so precious.
Yeah. I would just be like, everything that you did, all those terrible things you did, gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be even sweeter if the economy started getting better afterwards. But you just see like so many Democrats that are upset about Obamacare, like super liberal people that I know in the media complain about how their premiums just went up astronomically for less care, less insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And their deductibles went up, and their premiums went up by like almost more than they can afford.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting less.
It's amazing how powerful the KGB is. They're able to pull all of this off.
Yeah. Trying to help us with our health care.
That's right.
Evil lessons.
You can follow Ash on Twitter at Ashe Schow, and of course you can check out all of her work over at watchdog.org and the New York Observer. Ash, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next year.
Yeah, talk to you then.
Well, Tracy,
Yes.
anything else before we wrap this year up?
Well, that did remind me, that little discussion about undoing Obama's legacy, that there was a story that I saw yesterday that the Freedom Caucus in the House has put out a list of rules, regulations, and executive orders to revisit and possibly get that rid of in the first 100 days.
Oh,
And one of the items on that list is the e-cigarette FDA regulations that came out.
oh, good.
So that has me thrilled. And also on the list, this is what the article, I believe it was probably Conservative Treehouse, I want to say, had the article, or one of the conservative whatever.coms had this. It was about Michelle Obama's lunch program getting the heave-ho, or it's on the chopping block
My
to get.
my 12-year-old still bitches about that. It's like, we get French toast sticks with no syrup. And the cheese that we get now is terrible for our nachos. And it's like, okay, good. You know why? Democrats. That's why.
Yes.
Start
Yeah.
them young.
No, I think it's been great for us.
I mean, it's been 8 years of this. I'm not seeing a bunch of thin kids running around now.
No. And it was the Conservative Tribune that had the story, but I dug into it. It's Mark Meadows put out this document, which I don't know who the hell runs their digital side, but this is pathetic. I had to dig to actually find the list, and you have to download an Excel file.
Oh, you're kidding me.
And then go through it. No, but on his site, you can leave comments about what you would want removed. But the problem is you have to put the agency header and the rule name and number into a field that's required. So I had to go through, do a Control F or a Apple F search of the doc to find FDA regs, and then it was number 2 on their list of FDA regulations to revisit was the e-cigarette deeming rules. So, yeah, if you want to dig through that Excel sheet, which is fun times, and it's hard to find, it's buried at the bottom of the page, then you can find any regulations that your little heart might be interested in having removed, and write a little note to the Freedom Caucus and say, get rid of this BS. So I'm interested to see, too, in the next, what Obama's got. We're recording this on the 29th.
Yes.
So he's got 22 more days. He'll be returning to D.C. from Hawaii on the 3rd, I believe.
Well, he needed that last vacation.
He did.
He's
Well,
not
and I've heard that he has plans to immediately take a vacation after the 20th.
Unbelievable.
$85 million we spent on their vacations over the last 8 years. Yeah, so I don't know what the hell else they can get away with doing, what else they can booby trap before they leave following the UN Security Council vote.
Oh, that last week is going to be priceless.
Yeah, I don't know what else they could possibly do. Locking up more land under control of the federal government, putting more other land, moratorium on drilling on that forever and ever. I don't know if they can, who knows what they think they can get away with executive order wise.
It's going to be fun to see the first week of the Trump administration and see all these executive orders that he can peel back immediately without any
just
court
undo it.
challenges or anything. And
Well,
see
and it
the
sounds
reaction.
And they've been trying to sniff out who's involved in what kind of BSing at all these federal departments.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of resistance. I personally can't wait to see Inauguration Day up on that dais. The sourpusses.
Yeah.
And the last that I heard, Jimmy Carter is the only one that has said he's coming of the ex-prezes. So I'm hoping that Bill and Hildo show up and she has to sit there.
Well, I
right
hope
behind Trump.
And it's going to be between that and, you've got invited guests too. It'll be nice to see what kind of freak show that Donald Trump invites. It'd be great to have Don King sitting behind Donald Trump.
Well, he's been at Mar-a-Lago. I don't know if you saw that or
I
not.
saw that he was wearing his jean jacket with his 10-inch Donald Trump pin on it.
Yep, and his fistful of flags.
Oh, this is fantastic.
It's hilarious.
8 years
It's our
of this.
reality. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good God.
I know. I don't know why he hasn't invited Roseanne to sing the anthem. She's been a big defender of his.
Yeah?
It'd be great.
Oh, the heads are going to explode, Tracy. Heads are going to explode.
So much fun. I think they're going to have to bring in like the paddles to CNN to have them standing by. I do feel like we're going to see some on-air heart attacks this year.
Oh, it's going to be great. Did I hear that there's going to be a new permanent site for people to protest in front of the White House? Thought I heard something about that because for years they had one protester sitting out there protesting nuclear arms. I think wanting a nuclear freeze or something, like it was 1986 again. I think that person ended up kicking the bucket. Thought I heard something that we're gonna have protesting's gonna be cool again.
Of course. Now all of a sudden we're gonna be in too many wars.
Yes. Wars?
Yeah, we're in war in several places right now, and it sounds as if, I mean, this has happened a couple times, but that there's going to be peace talks in the Syrian fighting that we're not going to be involved in at all, from my understanding.
Amazing.
So, Mr. Peace Prize, yeah.
Amazing how little respect there is for us now around the world, and it only took 8 years of Barack Obama to make that happen.
Well, I'm wanting. Come on, let's ratchet it up. War crime trials for these guys. Why not? The left was banging the drums for those for Cheney and Bush, and you just had
arrest on the golf course.
Yeah, the Turkish government is now saying that they have evidence that that the United States provided material support to ISIS and Al Qaeda. Isn't that fun?
Not seeing. I'm looking right now, and I'll try to ask Jeeves that because I haven't seen much of that in the mainstream media.
No.
Funny.
No.
Oh. Well.
No, maybe we'll get the truth of the gun running scandal, and I'm not talking Fast and Furious. I'm talking about the gun running that was going on out of Benghazi.
The problem is that now that Obama is going to be out of office, that a lot of that stuff's going to go away. People just aren't going to talk about it. People aren't going to look into it. And you're only going to see it if you have some documentarian doing some sort of film.
Or if you check out RT.com every day and get your news directly from the Kremlin, like I do. That's where I saw the article.
Well, see, there you go.
So here comes Erdogan saying, yeah, guess what? We've got evidence that the United States helped ISIS. Yep.
Can't trust RT. They were part of the whole hacking
so
the
Drudge.
Yeah. Well, my 2017 predictions are that there will not be a wall. That the Republicans will do everything they can to screw up the Obamacare repeal. Mm-hmm. And much of 2017 will be Donald Trump calling out congressional Republicans for being
fun times.
The weasels that they are. I don't think a lot's going to get done.
Oh, that's fine. Gridlock is good.
Yeah? Still better than the President Hillary Clinton.
Absolutely.
So. Well, anything else, Tracy?
No, sir.
This has been our 2016. I'm getting misty. Where can everyone find the Enough Already podcast?
You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Facebook, and at enoughalreadypodcast.com.
Follow Tracy on Twitter at Tracy L. Connors. Follow me on Twitter at Fingers Malloy. And, of course, music for the Enough Already podcast is provided to us courtesy of YoPollyMusic.com. Any New Year's Eve plans, Tracy?
There'll be some drinking, I'm sure. That's about it.
Yeah.
You?
Me too. No. Then I'm going to, of course, watch my Detroit Lions blow their 2016 season on New Year's Day night against the evil Green Bay Packers. The last game of the NFL regular season will be played in Detroit, Michigan. And they'll lose. And that'll be it. So that's my New Year's. It's depressing. Well, I want to thank all of you out there for listening to this podcast over the past, we started this in March.
I believe so.
After we left FTR Radio and the Snark Factor and started this thing up. And again, thank you for listening and making your way over to iTunes and giving us reviews. They should continue to do that. We need more reviews, Tracy Connors.
Okay.
Especially of the 5-star variety over on iTunes.
Yeah.
So please do that. But thanks again for listening. And we will be back with all new Enough Already podcasts in 2017.